think to ask was my favorite wrestler at the time, and I say at the time only because you're retired now.
It's cool. I have other friends. It's fine.
He's got other podcasts he can do.
Byron Anthos, and honestly, 5 years later, here we are, finally.
Glad I made it.
You 5 years in retirement to get your dream person on.
Actually, it took me 5 years, my retirement, and your girlfriend asking for me.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
But, way to start the show out on a high note. Thanks. Love you, Alex. But, so yes, we have the King of Fools, Byron Anthos, or at least erstwhile at this point. Because now you're in the podcasting business yourself.
Yes, I am. I have a new show coming out. It's called The Nightstand. We call it The Thoughts That Keep You Up at Night. It will be on revolverpodcast.com as part of Deep Ellum Podcast channel.
Nice.
And it will debut August 1st. There will be 6 episodes as part of our season 1. And there's that.
So it's pretty much all the intrusive thoughts that keep you
Basically.
up at night?
Okay, cool. It's things like, why am I the one who has to call first? Why am I the only sibling helping out my parents? Like, it's really, just introspective looks at yourself.
Nice.
We are not therapists. We are not professionals. We do not claim to be. There is no therapy quite like therapy.
You're not a life coach?
No.
Some other wrestlers have done
God, no.
that,
God, no. No. This? No. Sweater in Texas? No.
I was going to say, it's like...
Not at all. Not at all.
And you're hiding such a great shirt, so...
Fiends.
But, but before that, you did have a decent wrestling career.
Thank you.
And honestly, no, it was like I was brand new into indie wrestling and everything like that, especially the local scene. And James Johnson, king of the Texas Cruiserweights, had just turned heel. And I think one of his first opponents, they were like, oh, yes, the King of Fools, Byron Anthos. And I'm like, say what? Because I have a thing about jesters. One of my absolute favorite movies is The Court Jester with Danny Kaye.
It's a weird-ass kink, sir.
Not a kink, just an interest.
When you say you have a thing for jesters, that sounds like a kink.
If I find any Harley Quinn related anything in your history at all, you got nothing.
Sir.
You got nothing, sir. You got nothing.
Harley Quinn is the
nothing.
best. I have several Harley...
Correct.
No. I like how she's going to pull the statue out, not the picture.
I like that whatever it is, she's like, I got it, hold my beer.
Oh, she has all my receipts.
Boom. Harley Quinn ceramic. See? Yeah.
Not even just the Harley Quinn ceramic, it's the Margot Robbie Harley Quinn ceramic.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking nerd.
Hey, at least she didn't pull the picture, so you know.
Oh,
Bring the picture.
You brought that on yourself.
Double down. Lean in.
And this is why we love this show.
Lean in and let him have it.
Jesus Christ, I've never had someone check me like that. Fuck.
Welcome to the last episode of...
It's funny, we say that every week and still here we are.
I was going to say, we just started. We got a shitload of questions that we
yeah, definitely. But,
Bring them.
From the moment I saw you the first time, I absolutely loved it. I was a huge fan from the beginning. Hell, the first time I started going to training, you came to go get your hat that you left behind after that match, and I made an absolute, fool of myself, tripping over myself. Byron, hi, I want to shake your hand.
I remember.
I was brand new at this, so,
I know.
Is that first or second concussion?
No, I actually didn't get a concussion on that training.
Oh, okay.
It was about a month later. And that was 3 in one night.
Oh, I was there for that one.
Yeah.
Technically, it was just one stacked.
Good old.
Want to keep it real. Want to keep it real and medically professional. Then it was one concussion. Stacking.
I just kept making it worse and worse. It was 3 concussive events, but it was
life
one
coach and doctor. All right, cool.
Yeah.
You're just adding to your little stat.
Look, you know what? I actually just recently realized is that we actually split a famous saying in half when we say jack of all trades and a master of none. The rest of that is often better than a master of one.
Really?
And we never say it, and that pisses me off.
Because the whole thing is that it's better to have a diversified field of interest in expertise rather than be absolutely specialized to where you're useless out of anything else.
Which is wrong, because neither are better than the other.
That is also true.
Both can make you rich. Both can make you broke.
I was gonna say my former manager, who I love to death and still talk to, she's like a mentor, always said that you're like, oh, you're a master of all, you're whatever.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, jack of all trades, master of none. Because when I worked at my doctor's office, I did everything: X-ray, billing, front, MA, whatever they needed. And when they sold to,
I don't know what that means.
When they sold to fucking HCAT, she was. I was like, hey, they want to know what my actual job title is. What is it? And she tried to tell me that, and I was like, I don't think they're going to accept that as a job title.
Wow.
So, but no, that's something I've always liked. Because, I do. Like, I like, at least at my job or even in life, I like knowing a bunch of different things. I may not be a master of any of them, but I like knowing.
Yeah.
I just have ADHD.
I mean, I probably have a lot of shit undiagnosed.
Might be oversimplifying.
Just a bit.
Still takes commitment to be a jack of all trades.
True.
But anyways, let's go ahead and get to the first question. That
Do
we
that.
do.
Yes.
Because we're, 10 minutes in, already off the rails?
It's
So.
fine, it's only 7.
Is this? I was gonna say.
It's gonna happen.
I was gonna say it's like you were expecting this show of all shows to go according to plan.
I mean, yeah, you're right. No, fuck it.
There wasn't even a production meeting. You gave
not
me a glass of
professional.
wine and went to the patio.
First of all, how dare you? I gave a production meeting. It just wasn't very good.
I was trying to protect you.
I guess speaking of
But-
production meetings, did we fix the parking situation with the new tow company?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Anyways, that was my one thing.
It's about to be my one thing. The hell?
Yeah, same here.
The hell are you
Excuse
talking
us.
As
about?
long as she fixed it in the chat that you got where you
Look,
got a red shirt,
I have a
that's good.
thing that says that it's active.
Okay, then
Okay.
you're fine.
Yeah, same here.
They literally just changed last night, so I just want to be sure we fixed.
First of all, call me out.
Took me to the same page as
Anyway.
last time. Okay, so yeah. So, Byron,
Yeah.
Did you not send it to them?
we'll go ahead. Oh shit.
Lily, you got something to fix.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we have a new tow company.
Oh, that's
Brian's
great.
okay, you're not.
Byron.
Fuck! Okay, it honestly started as a joke and I can't stop and I'm sorry.
And you played yourself.
I did.
Look.
I really did. I was like, fuck.
Oh God, what?
Says, hello, Dave Sagan. Hope you are doing good.
Fucking Sagan's here? What the fuck?
What? Where?
Hello,
What?
Sagan here. What's up, Sagan?
Hi, Dave.
God, I miss that fucking man.
But yeah, so our typical starting question is, of course, what got you into pro wrestling as a fan, and then later on, what got you into it wanting to be a wrestler?
As a fan, I remember being at home, flipping through the channels, and the first match that I ever saw was Matt Hardy versus S.A. Rios
Oh,
with
jeez.
Lita and Jeff Hardy. Lita was still with SA at the time.
Right.
So that was like the first thing I ever saw, and I grew up with like a very narrow mind of what wrestling was, you know, the big guys and the trunks and everything like that. So this was something completely different. And I was like, oh, that's cool, that's fun. And so I just kind of stuck with it, found a friend in high school, we bonded over that. Actually, I'll call him out. Alex Klooster, he was a ref.
Yeah.
We went to high school together.
Nice.
Okay.
He never refed one of my matches. That's unfortunate. No, that's unfortunate. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
So that was as a fan, and then as a person just going into it. I had from college to when I started wrestling, I pursued a dance career. So I did like music videos, live performances. I did Six Flags. I did Dallas Cowboys. I did all these things. And then my 30th birthday was coming. And I was like, I'm not getting younger, and this is gonna hurt more if I wait longer. So went to a tryout, did the thing, stayed committed, stuck with it.
Dancing's gonna hurt, so you know what? I'll do wrestling. That's not gonna hurt.
No, I meant if I started wrestling as I got older, it was going to be
I
hard.
thought you were talking about your dance career. Like, yeah, I'm 30.
That too. That too. No, I would like wake up with my knee fucked up, and I'll be like, "What did I do?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's the move. That's the move that did it." Okay.
It was on that 5, 6, 7, 8. That's the one that was like, ow.
Yes.
And it was touted at the time when you were still active that you were the first graduate of DFW All Pro Wrestling Academy.
The first in-ring performer. Yes. I also graduated with Bones, the ref.
Stephen Hatfield.
How did you find DFW, All Pro?
Hot. It was We were in a place with no air conditioning for the longest time. When I got there were some people, like, I was pretty much like the first class with like 3 other people. So the other people there were very seasoned already. And so it was a good group of guys to learn from. And then as it got bigger, it just became its own animal.
Yeah.
And they've put out some really fantastic talent since as well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
They've done well for themselves, obviously.
No, they are. And we've said it time and again, and a lot of people, think we don't like them. We do. See, we give credit where credit's due. DFW All-Pro does put out a lot of good talent. Mm-hmm. Now, while I may disagree with some of the training things they do or some of the things, it's
like what?
They still put great things out.
Like what? Name 5.
Can't name 5. The one thing I will name, and it's something that may not be true anymore, but it was when the training happened at first, it was all about cardio. It was that old school, we're going to weed.
This is all stuff that we had been told by former trainees.
So, and it's, while I
First
understand
of all, drag me.
while I understand that aspect of it, it's one of those where it's like, should you really try to not really weed people out? If, I get seeing where their heart is, but just running people to death and cardio and all that stuff, yes, you need cardio, obviously. But you also need to actually train them, and there are other schools that do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not exclusive to them.
No, it really isn't. There is a lot of schools do that.
Yeah.
But you also have a lot of schools that they do cardio, but we're also going to teach you this and that, and we're actually going to teach you the rest of the week. To me, how I see DFW All Pro now, and again, I haven't talked to a lot of the students, but how it is now, at least to my understanding from
so everything you don't know you're making up and it's all bad. That's no coincidence.
A little bit.
Got it.
It's more of hey, beginner, intermediate, expert. They have levels, which I think is good for most schools that you do it that way.
They did that. They had beginner nights and then more advanced nights. Mm-hmm. So they did split it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last I was there.
Right.
So, Greg had a question. What was the Jester ring gear about, and was there a meaning behind it?
I was a jester.
How did you
okay.
about becoming a jester?
So the reason was, like I said, for the 10 years before, I was a dancer, but I also got into other forms of entertainment. I was doing stilt walking, aerial silks. I was doing all kinds of heavy performance things. Nice. So it was just kind of the character idea that I wanted to incorporate into the ring, but I didn't want to do it in the silly Bugs Bunny way. I wanted to do it in the more you're not going to expect this technical way.
Yeah.
So that's where I would focus a lot on my technical wrestling, but come up with different techniques. I really like the lucha libre style, but then out of nowhere I'd hit a couple of power moves. I wanted to be very diverse, and at the same time I made it my personal mission once I got comfortable with myself to actually make my opponent laugh. I almost got oh god, what's he going by now? JD Griffin? JD Griffin. Jerome. I just call him Jerome.
I was gonna say I still call him Jerome, even though somebody goes by.
I got him almost before. I almost got Shane Taylor too.
Nice.
And I remember the moment. So for Jerome, it was, he said, all these people are going to see you get your butt kicked, all over DFW. And I'm like, joke's on you. They've already seen me get my butt kicked all over DFW. He about lost it, and then he started wailing on me.
Then he punched me for real.
It was fun because there was a moment I was in a triple threat match with somebody who can live forever, die tomorrow, and he was out of the ring, and then I backed up into Shane, and he was breathing down my neck, and I was like, I know it's him. There's only 3 people here. One's there. I'm this one, and I'm literally going like this, grabbing his face. He literally had to turn me around and pop me. I still won that round.
I think my favorite actually was from the first match that I saw you in with James Johnson. The two, you had him chasing you on the ropes, and you just stop and go to the back rope and watch him.
Cardio.
Yeah.
Cardio.
And when he looks at
cardio
you,
run.
When he looks at you, he's
DFW All Pro Cardio Run. It is all these things.
But yeah, it's that was one of my favorites. I'm okay, the jester thing's real. Got it. But you were talking about the stilt walking, and I remember one of your live Facebook lives as you were going down to Sabotage, I believe. you had talked about how you were actually on a major show before you ever started your wrestling career.
Yes, I actually made actually, no. God, it sounds like I make it up, and then it sounds like I make an excuse. But I have to tell you, this is exactly what happened. I will call the other guy to say this is what happened. So, I was working for an entertainment company, and somebody called and said they wanted 2 Stillwalkers. So it was me, and it was my friend. I feel bad for him now. It's all right, we don't talk.
Good friend, cool.
I can call him if I remember his name. But we went, and we were walking around, and they were like, "Okay, you're gonna go over here. You're gonna talk to Christy. She'll tell you what you need to do, and then you're gonna go over here." And then we walk into the store, and I'm like, "Fuck, it's Christy Hemme."
Oh.
We're at Impact Wrestling. Holy shit! I think it was actually TNA Slammiversary at the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say Slammiversary was always in Arlington for
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 years.
It was Slammiversary. And so she tells us what to do. I see Jeff Hardy come down. I see Angelina Love come down. And then, we go to our room, and they say, yeah, someone's going to come get you. You're going to be the Stillwalkers for the menagerie.
Yep.
So we were going to be on the stage as they go. We're going to walk down to the ring and just kind of be there and then leave. Then the match starts. So we're back there, and nothing really happens for a long time. And so we're like, maybe we should just like get ready. We're going to get in our costumes, and we're like up there. We're chilling and everything. We have our own room. And then we go outside, and then someone's like, where's the Stillwalkers? Where are the Stillwalkers? And mind you, I've only been Stillwalking for like maybe 3 months at the time. The other guy has been doing it for like a decade. So we're in these like heavy ass costumes, and they say, we need the Stillwalkers out here now. He takes off running down the hall in stills. I'm not. I'm not. But I remember there's steps to get onto the stage when he goes. So we get out there, and he falls on stage.
Oh.
He falls on stage. I don't, because I don't have the opportunity to go. The menagerie music is already playing. The girl comes out with the glitter. The little person on the bike already came out and everything. And here comes the menagerie. And we're like, well, this didn't happen. So we pull him off the stage, and we walk back, and we're like, I'm not sorry, because I didn't do anything wrong. I'm sorry that this happened. And what's really funny is, I think 3, maybe 4 years into my wrestling career, I was doing a show in Tennessee, and there was Crazy Steve. And I was like, we actually kind of met. I was one of your Stillwalkers. He's like, are you the one that fell? And I said, you're not going to believe me if I say no, but no, it was not me. So yeah, I made a pseudo pay-per-view debut.
Nice. Going back a little bit, because you were talking about the whole technical thing or like that, it just reminded me one of my favorite matches during COVID, and it was the Fight One Survive, was you and Ryan. Remington.
Yes.
That was so amazing, because it was one of those where Ryan had just started doing kind of technical stuff and everything like that. And then, of course, you coming in, knowing a lot of technical stuff. Just that match, to me, was hands down the best match of the whole Fight One Survive tournament.
High key, when we saw a submission match, we were like, fuck yeah, man. Hell yeah. I'm going to break your fucking arms. It's going to be awesome. We were excited. We were excited for that.
Did you, given the whole technical aspect and everything, do you have like an MMA type background, or do you just always like technical wrestling?
I did a lot of martial arts when I was a kid into teenager, and keeping that into dance,
Right.
like movement just comes second nature to me. It's like, you tell me what to do, I can do it. I at least know how. Whether or not I can actually physically do it as I get older, we'll see. But you don't have to explain the mechanics of me. I can see something and do it again. So one of my favorite things to do was, when I was training with C.T. Jones, we would actually like blindfold chain.
Nice.
Nice.
And that was a lot of fun. Because it just kind of made you feel things more than like, okay, what am I gonna do? And it's like, no, just feel it. It was really cool.
Yeah. It's
how you know he's alive.
I'm sorry, I'm fat.
Again, it's one of those I always thought was real. Like I said, to me, yes, that Fight One Survive COVID had a lot of good matches, but that technical submission with you and Ryan just, oh my god, it was amazing.
I want to see that. Like, if anybody has the video of that, I want it.
Pretty sure it's on.
Because that was a lot of fun.
Never mind. I was gonna say pretty sure it's on the network, but
God.
the network's no more.
It was so
We'd have to
hot
go
that
look
day.
at the see if they have the older stuff on Twitch now.
I remember that day they were like, we're going to do Fight One Survive. And I'm like, cool, it's hot as fucking here. Yeah, and everyone's getting t-shirts. Damn it.
Wonderful.
Was there a reason with James Johnson, y'all jumped Dave Hagan and Tatum Manning when they was tag partners? Yeah, it was because Dave was like looking for a partner and didn't even call us.
Yeah. Which that was something I was going to
The
get
hell,
to.
Dave?
That was something I was going to get to because you had been in NPX a little bit here and there, but you really kind of became a mainstay of NPX when it was House of Sagan.
Yeah.
How did that kind of all come about?
Oh, that was fun. They were like, we like your character. We're going to go with the goth theme. And I'm like, you knew me in high school. Sweet. All right, cool. Dope.
So you're saying you fit right in?
Yeah. Like, I can do this. And that was actually a lot of fun because like I could do the goofy thing, but now I had to do it like I didn't want to be there.
Right.
So I'm like, cool, I'm 35. I don't want to be here. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. I can absolutely wrestle like I don't want to be here. Say less. Say less. Although I will say, wrestling in Converse, no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely.
For 2 years of my career.
And it sucks, doesn't it?
No, I actually liked
Oh,
it.
you flat-footed
Okay,
bitch,
no,
whatever.
I also like had the ones that were just like calf height, not necessarily like knee height. So I had a little extra support.
Yeah, I did not.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
You
And
had
it
the
sucks.
short ones?
Yes.
Oh,
And they,
Oh, well then there you go.
That's on you.
yeah, there was,
support every time. You should know this.
look, it's either that or steel-toed boots. Nobody needs that.
Okay.
That's bad for other people.
Who are you, Rage?
It's Jesus. What was I thinking of? It was Purple Rain, and I was mad because it was like a 2-minute match. What was it? It was him and who? And it opened it, and he like won on a roll up. And it was
Oh,
Yeah.
Kiefer.
yeah. What the? I was like, what the fuck is it?
Oh,
You're
that
opening
was
Purple
funny.
Rain with it.
Yeah. No, that was fun. I had to do that to like a few people. That was a lot of fun. It's like everybody wanted a rematch. I remember that's actually like what led to Tatum and I having our car wash fight.
Yes.
Which was one of the more entertaining.
And that was one of my favorite times to
That
like
was
grab the
good.
mic live because I'm like, one, I called him Frat Boy Slim. I told him, just take the L. Like my mama didn't raise no fool. My dad didn't raise me at all. So it's like this is my best mic work. All true.
So you brought real life into it.
It's what you should do. Like if you can be more like
True.
yourself, the rest of it is easier.
So you're a king of full naturally.
Yeah.
Oh.
The fact that you've survived 15 minutes still not getting kicked from YouTube means I've lost my touch.
We won't know that until we go offline.
I know, right? I know, right?
Byron, what was your favorite match you ever had?
Oh, God. I don't know. I don't know that I had a favorite because there was people that I really liked working with, but I don't think there's any in particular that I would go back and be like, that's the one. I remember there were like 5 that like I kind of felt like an Xbox achievement alert. It's like, hey, you totally nailed this. Achievement.
Good match.
Something. Yeah. Like there were matches like that. There was like the TLC match with Xavier Daniels. There was any match with CG Ward. There was the one with Jerome was one of my favorites. Anytime I worked with Jay Ace was fun. He was the most fun to work with. We loved kicking each other in the face.
Oh my god.
That's how you know you got your best friend.
I recently just posted that picture of us on no, fuck you. Wait,
When
no,
we got
Arkansas.
fucking stuck in
Was it
Al-
Arkansas or was that Tennessee? We got stuck in
it's somewhere else
Arkansas.
I'm not going. So
No, we got stuck in Arkansas.
Yeah.
We're on the way to Tennessee.
yeah, we were going there for y'all too.
Please tell me that story.
We were
Please
going there
tell
for
me that
y'all
story.
too. So y'all got booked on an all-women
Y'all?
show.
Who's y'all?
You and Allie,
Thank you.
Alabama, at the time. I don't know if she's still going by that name or if she's doing anything right now.
She's not doing anything right now.
Same. So we were going up to support you guys because they said there might be something, but then we got there. It's an all-women show. We're like, it'll still be fun.
Liberty?
No.
It was one of Pondo's girl fights.
Yeah.
You
It was one of
little
those.
fuck.
One of those.
Oh, fuck you. That was so much fun.
And
I'm
we
sorry,
like,
the one in Texas.
and we,
Stop. Let him tell the story.
and we were driving along, and then we I don't know, did we take a shortcut or was it just a detour, or we were like stayed on GPS?
No. Okay, so we stood on GPS, but we ended up having to stop at like a rest stop that was off because like.
Okay, well hold on, because two things happened. Two things happened first. One, we got pulled over,
Yes.
and then the cop let us go after he got an autograph from Alabama.
And I totally. And
who was driving?
He got one of my pictures
Allie.
too. And he got one of my pictures.
Yes. So we totally bribed our way out of a ticket. And Jay Ace and I didn't get out of the car. They worked it. They completely worked it.
There's a picture.
They absolutely worked it.
There's a picture of us with the cop.
Yeah.
In that same.
Not
fucking
us. Not us. y'all. And then as we were going, we were staying on GPS, and then it was taking us through like this really rural area where either it had rained the day before or they watered whatever the hell they were growing.
Goddamn cornfield.
It was bad. It was bad, and we got stuck in the mud.
Oh no.
No.
No, we did.
You gotta do the whole like
No, we got-
where we were like.
We were Jay Ace and I get out in the mud and are pushing the car side to side as she goes. By the way, Allie's the one driving. By the way, Allie never gets out of the car.
Oh, ever.
Libby gets out of the car, and we're all trying to get it. And it was messy. It was messy.
She hits the fucking gas so hard, and we all get sprayed with mud. Just completely covered.
It was full Tarantino with mud. It was bad.
Are we talking My Cousin Vinny kind of look here?
I'm talking Kill Bill.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Like, no.
just replace blood with mud.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh,
So that was that story. That's a thing that happened.
And that's one of my favorite memories of us.
It was just a fun trip. It was a fun trip.
However, one of my favorite memories of us together in the rain.
Who were we against?
It was Alex Gracia
And Dallin.
and Dallin.
That was fun.
Dallin.
That was
I
fun.
wish we could have like made that into tag team.
It would have been fun. But yeah.
'Cause at the time, I was the Wicked Witch of the West, and you were the King of
Still
Fools.
me, yeah.
So it would have been absolutely
We
amazing.
would have been the Wicked Fools, yeah.
I was the only character I
yes!
ever had.
Yeah, easy.
It would have been amazing.
Yes.
You were talking about not getting out of the car in Arkansas, which
As a gay man, no, I'm not getting out.
I was gonna say I was just like, yeah, that's real good that you and Jade never got.
I was
out
gonna
of the
say,
car.
actually, of all people, Allie probably should have got out.
Allie was the best possible.
Allie's slender blonde ass should have gotten out of that car and worked the Arkansas magic.
Well, that was it. Y'all got pulled over, and I'm like, well, of course the cop let y'all go. It's a skinny, white, blonde girl and a Latina. Of course he's gonna let you go.
And in the back seat, the opposite.
Oh, and not only did she get out, but she immediately started with
The Southern Belle shit?
Southern Belle
Yep.
shit immediately.
Yep.
Good job, Allie.
Did not let up a single fucking moment to the point that she goes,
Hey, officer, is there a problem?
oh, I have so many 8x10s. Would you like to buy them?
Not even buy it. She just said, do you want one?
Yes.
Do you want one?
No, and of course she's
And he's like, wait.
it's fucking $5. You want to buy?
Like, he is full blown ready to make his quota. And then he's like, wait, for real?
And then as soon as because I swear to God he bought one because I remember her going to be like, that's gonna be $10.
Oh my God, she did.
Completely.
She did.
Completely.
She made $10 on a traffic stop. That bitch.
What?
God, I love her.
All I meant was $5.
God.
Her retirement-ish is a loss to the business.
Yes. I enjoyed the Malin shit. I really did.
Anybody
I
else
did,
want to
yeah.
fuck with me right now? Like, damn.
Huh? Yes, they do. They all do.
That's not a game.
they
It's
don't,
not a
then-
game you want to be wrong at.
But
Against another fucking wrestler.
But I was going to say, it's like, well, being out and gay and everything like that, and going out in the wrestling
To
world.
Arkansas.
Through Arkansas to Tennessee. Yeah.
Louisiana.
You know, it was like, what
Anywhere in the South.
What was the experience that you had, dealing with a lot of that?
Fortunately, I love fucking around with people that I'm never going to see again. So I will say right now that Arkansas, Tennessee, and Illinois are the only states that ever call me the F word on a handshake.
Jesus.
But, I kind of lean into it a little bit. First of all, Illinois was aggressive. They were aggressively mad at the existence of anything. It was bad. But in Arkansas, I was doing a show, and this woman was like, your makeup's ugly, and I'm like, oh, your husband likes it. Like, just going like back at her and everything. Like, she was fun. But like, Arkansas was kind of an achievement because they started that way, they didn't end that way. So like they were into the match, they were into everything, and it just became generic booze at the time. And I'm like, okay,
Won
cool.
them over, so to speak, a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, she can go cry to Uncle Dad for all I care.
Uncle, brother, son, whatever, yeah. So,
I keep thinking that paper is your questions.
You
keep proving me wrong.
Sir, we don't have
You keep
questions.
proving me wrong. It's blank. That's awesome.
I have all.
Why is that
These
here?
are all my questions. Yes.
That's the whole point of the show. We
I love it.
literally free flow.
I love it.
So you pretty much never really, I mean, you had some discrimination, but not like a lot, so to speak. Like because you were obviously always very open.
Not necessarily.
Really?
Yes. And this was so this is a huge issue. Because I cannot remember who it was. I want to say it was like Ryan Davidson made a post, just a random post that it's like one of the survey posts that everybody was doing at COVID.
Yeah.
And was like, what's some bad advice you've ever been given? Because, everyone got real bold during COVID. And I thought about it, and I
We're
was
gonna
like,
get to that.
and I was like, in every seminar I went to, there was no bad advice. There were just things I'd heard before.
Right.
Nothing really new from how I was trained, and nobody really brought anything extra. Stuff I could prepare for. But the only bad advice that I'd ever gotten was that I wouldn't want to be known as a gay wrestler because it could hurt my career. Which is kind of, first of all, in my 30s, generic advice.
Okay.
Absolutely generic advice that any industry is going to give you because they think the older generation thinks they're protecting you,
Right.
because it's how they grew up in the business and everything. And that's true anywhere. That's going to be in any entertainment industry. It's going to be, it's a big stigma and everything goes around. So I was actually not too thrilled with that because it's kind of like in my 30s, great, I got to go back in the closet professionally for this. And that kind of set me back a little bit. And the problem here is that this happened on a very public forum. Like I said, this was on Ryan Davidson's post.
Right.
So I say this, and I watch my words very, very carefully. So I say, I have been told in the past that to be known as a gay wrestler would hurt my career. I made sure not to say any names,
Right.
no affiliations, no relationships, none of it. And then somebody tells on himself. Says, if you're talking about me and this, then you need to leave. And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. No homo, no phobia. Get into it. And it happened very, very publicly.
Right.
And that was like the final, like there have been incidences before then, but that was like kind of the final separation between me and DFW.
Right.
Because, and now here's what I will say about that. It happened.
Yeah.
It was said, and not even just to me, but I think that is a homophobic statement from a altruistic place. You think you have good intentions, you're trying to protect. What you're doing is actually pulling back.
Right.
And like I said, it's very, very common for people to kind of gatekeep in any industry because they think this is the way. And I think that was kind of an ongoing issue that a lot of people in this industry take the exceptions as the rule. And they try to just keep it at that. Like, here are our most successful things. You see what they are, and then you see what they're not. Don't be the things they're not.
Right.
Because that's not going to work. And there's a lot of, like, old school versus new school. When really, guys, just go to school. Like...
Educate.
Which,
Yeah.
and that is something you kind of, when you came in, you kind of were learned and taught a lot of the old school, but then COVID and call out happened and everything like that. And you saw kind of this new school rise up and...
The
try the
accountability.
change thing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you were kind of at the forefront of it. But would you say that yes, things changed for the better? Does things stay the same, or?
I can't say for sure because, like I said, I'm not really a huge part of that industry anymore. So I don't know what the atmosphere is like now.
Right.
I will say that it was met with a lot of resistance. I kind of refused to budge. I think my age benefited me in here. That I already had, grown up through high school, had 10 years of a career in a completely separate industry, had a relationship, have friends, have family and everything. I had a life outside of wrestling before wrestling.
Right.
So that when wrestling could ever be threatened in any way, I'm like, well, I'm still good. So who cares? But what I saw was a surgence of people wanting to hold people accountable
Right.
for things that, this is actually what led to my first show.
Which actually was going to be a question.
Thank you. That actually led to my friend Casey and I starting the back because all the veterans would say, any personal issues you have, handle it in the back.
God.
So we did a show called The Back where we brought out all your personal shit.
So that was the name. That was the reason for the name.
Uh-huh.
I love it.
That's
Oh
why
my
we always
God.
started with "Welcome to the back," where we're going to talk about business. Because
Okay.
they always say, "Handle your business in the back." So we're like,
Right.
"Fine, we will."
I was usually working when your show was on, so I didn't even think about.
And there's
that.
Casey!
It's Casey.
Who, by the way, is a full-blown mother now.
Yes.
She has an entire child.
I was like, as if she wasn't like a year and a half ago.
I was gonna say, it's like it's been a while, hadn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, but I'm speaking to this industry now. So. And she's also back in the ring.
Oh,
Yes, I heard about that.
Yeah.
That makes me happy to see.
She's been going to AAPW, so if anybody wants to catch them on stream, you can.
Oh, god damn it. With Casey being back, that makes me want to come back because we actually got to wrestle each other.
No, we're pissed at you, by the way. Because you got the good gear, then quit.
That is true. The
I
Red
used
Lantern
it
gear.
for like 6 months.
Once.
No. I used it a lot.
The Red Lantern one? Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
Okay, used it?
Yeah, her last run and her returns.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not quitting gear. It's not quitting gear. All right?
There's those thigh highs that no longer fit, so.
Word.
I was gonna say, is quitting gear just jeans and a t-shirt? You just don't give a fuck?
Okay, rage.
Hey, I didn't even get that. But getting back to the topic, because Casey derails, that she has done several times on our show.
Yeah.
But the resistance that I saw was that a lot of the old school people didn't want that.
Okay.
They wanted things to still be handled in private, which is really funny because the same person who told me to that I didn't want to be known as a gay wrestler also said issues in public get dealt with in public.
Ooh.
So I'm like, well, damn. All right then, let's do it.
well,
And that is something I do remember during Call Out. There were so many wrestlers like, oh, this should be held in the back. We hold each other accountable.
No, you
and then,
don't.
I was going to say, and that was
You
the
don't.
thing. Even
I don't know. I was
barely knowing the
didn't.
wrestling world.
You didn't.
No, y'all didn't. Like,
You didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't because it kept going.
Yep.
And then, how many of you, and this is no hate on any of you, because this is just not even an industry thing, this is just a humanity thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever the speak out thing happened and this person admitted to this and that person admitted to that, how many of you were not surprised?
Right.
That was the problem.
That was actually going to be one of my questions that you had said don't
That
ask
was a
earlier, 'cause
problem.
You want to know preface is, was there anyone that was called out, and you don't have the names if you want to, but was there anything that called out that kind of shocked you? That you were like, really? From that person? Or were they all kind of, yeah, we knew that?
Honestly, when it happened, it kind of beat me into a corner. Because in hashtag speak out, not everybody was, sexually assault and
Right,
rapists
yeah.
and everything. There were other things.
Yes.
So in the midst of all those other things, yeah, there were a lot that made me feel like there was nowhere I could turn. There was no safe place for me to be associated anymore. And not even to down any of the promotions that had those people in there.
Right.
But because they were very quick that whenever things were brought to light, they tossed and tried to move on.
Right.
Great, cool, but obviously that kind of behavior, nobody just waves around with a
Some of
banner.
them- some of them were a broken
It's
stare.
people that you don't expect it from.
Yeah.
Yes,
As
the girl on the front.
thank you. As somebody who has obviously seen a lot of what was going on and has sympathy for the people who have gone through it, was there any promotion that you were kind of surprised, kind of still held on to those people who got called out?
Not surprised because, like I said, it was met with some resistance, where people would be like, "Well, we're gonna find out everything when we find out. We need more evidence." And it's like, "Cool. What about the people that admitted, said I'm sorry, and then logged off for 6 months? The people that are trying to get one last match and everything like that. It's like you
all the while shitting on
you
his friends.
still
Dalton.
Dalton. What was that? Mr. B was kind of a shock.
Really?
Not well. I think because I don't know.
I was gonna say,
'Cause
Oh,
here's the
I'm not
thing.
sure.
Here's the
Really
thing.
around.
I wasn't around.
Yeah.
Right.
And see,
Yeah.
that's the thing. And that's the thing that a lot of people didn't understand about me is that coming in here in my 30s, I didn't socialize with a lot of people. I really didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't do bigs after MPX. I didn't go out anywhere. I did not hang out with everybody because I had a job.
Yeah.
I had training. I had a husband. And I had 3 cats at home. 2 now. My Kevin. Somebody already said sorry about Kevin.
That's literally how we started the show.
So we love Kevin.
We love him
Yeah.
anyway.
We love Kevin. But like I had all these things. I don't need to stay out till 4 a.m. gossiping about anything. Like I don't need it. It's nothing to say anything about the people personally. Do your life. But it's not for me.
Right.
So as such, I don't know personal things about people, so I don't know their behavior. All I know is these 15 minutes that we're going to be in the ring. That's all I knew.
Right.
So seeing the way people would work and everything, it's like, oh, cool, that was fun. Let's do it again. And then you find this shit out, and you're like, cool, glad I made fun of you last time.
So before the call out,
Uh-huh.
was there ever anything you saw or things you heard that you were kind of like, hey, we shouldn't do it? Like, did you? Because again, when call out happened, you were one of the ones that was kind of at the forefront, that was trying to protect the business and say, get them out, do this, do that. Before the call out happened, were you trying to do that in the back as well?
Surprisingly, how many of the guys from
you
DFW
waited for
were
the
like
call
that?
out and then kind of went full blown? Hey, this is wrong. I'm going to take a stand.
I mean, wrong is wrong. And, it's kind of hard to, just kind of be so black and white about it. But then you got to kind of have to remind yourself, these are grown-ass men and women who are doing the same high school bullshit. And I would say wrestling is kind of like high school.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
It absolutely freaking is.
Yeah.
You got your cliques, you got the people you want to protect no matter what you see they're doing or suspect that they're doing. And to a point where something so drastic isn't surprising, that's a problem.
Okay.
And that's a human thing. That is a human thing, not just a wrestling thing. I remember someone saying you can't associate with wrestling, and I'm like, cool, I have an Excel spreadsheet. That's this other way. But I felt like that was such a cop-out to the industry taking any responsibility for itself.
Right.
That there does need to be, if you want to gatekeep in any way, that was the way to gatekeep. Not whether or not somebody deserved to be in the ring or anything like that. Your business is your business, but when your business becomes illegal, then I think that in all cases the law should have been involved.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Across the board. Don't care. I don't care if we just had a match last week. I don't care. You're trash. You were trash then. You were just trash in secret. Now you're trash in public. Yes.
Okay, so kind of moving on from that, but I hope we get to touch on it a little bit more because.
Do you want to take my seat?
No.
Okay.
I was going to say
it
she
feels
take
like
mine, though.
I would generally like to know your thoughts on intergender wrestling. So a lot of the times whenever we talk to guys who are talking about intergender wrestling, they think of it from very much more of a macho standpoint, like, oh, I'm not going to lose to any girls, blah blah blah.
Bro,
do you also?
You're not
have
going to
that?
win over half the guys you faced.
In relationships too.
Bruh. Like, just say you hate women.
I remember somebody, when I asked about intergender wrestling, they said that my grandmother would beat the snot out of me if she ever saw me.
like, half the matches you're booked for, you're not gonna win in life. Shut up.
I'm 6'5", 280. I know Olivia can kick my ass. I know
She's
that.
vicious.
Like, I'm not gonna say, oh, I would win. No,
She's
fuck
scrappy,
that.
vicious,
She
what's
would
wrong?
fucking kill me.
Yeah.
I know that.
I just have to go for your knees. Mine is too low to the ground.
See, and she knows that. She's closer to the target than you are.
I'm closer to that little vein that you'll bleed out in 5 seconds.
I mean, I
Love you
think
too.
Welcome back to the last show.
my view on that actually goes into like kind of my view on it in and of itself. I don't like to say that it's fake. I don't like the fake talk and everything like that. I absolutely don't.
Right.
But it's theater. Perform.
Yeah.
Do your thing. It's when you start believing it's a sport that you're a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
You're a little ridiculous. It is an athletic theater, okay? Tell your show, tell the story, have fun,
Yep.
and just tell the story.
And that was one thing, God, I think it was Phil brought it up recently. He hates the word predetermined more than he does fake. And I'm like,
Make a book on the words he hates.
I was like, to me, fake just sounds so much worse.
It really does.
I guess because I look at it like that. I'm
hold on.
like,
but then go into it. Why?
Predetermined.
Why does predetermined bother you so much?
No, predetermined's fine.
Okay,
because
Phil, come to the studio.
Fake.
Calling you out.
He's in the chat.
I was like, fake bothers me because it's
Yes.
not fake. They actually punch it. They actually kick. They actually hurt each other.
Like there is
All for our entertainment. It is
Yes.
predetermined because it's a show.
Yes.
I think what a lot of people, when they talk about real versus fake versus anything else like that, what
So
they
is
really...
TV, so is movies, so is Marvel.
Fucking
What they
boxing
really-
and MMA is predetermined at times.
The
All
word
because they
everybody
want a
should
bigger
be-
box office.
You know
word-
why? Maybe that's why he actually hates the word predetermined, because it sounds rigged. Like when we say boxing and MMA is predetermined, like in that case it's rigged to favor somebody.
Oh,
maybe that's why.
But those
that's
are
why.
two different terms.
But-
Those are definitely two different terms.
I do get that.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying like maybe that's his association to it.
Maybe.
Okay, that's fair.
Phil, come in the chat and tell
Clear
us.
us up, but we're gonna make it up until you do.
But I think the word that everybody really should start, putting more stock into when it comes to describing the theater of professional wrestling is verisimilitude.
If somebody tells you to
I'm
make
sorry,
a character,
what?
it's verisimilitude.
All right, you two, explain that shit.
I was like, I was
Explain it and fucking spell
Basically,
it. Go ahead.
it's the quality of being able to suspend disbelief. It's not so much, oh, this is completely real, I completely believe it's real. It's you are so into it that you have suspended any disbelief, and what is going on in the ring, even if it seems ridiculous, like say a jester or a clown or
Okay, so
Undertaker.
Undertaker.
Yeah,
You're still-
verisimilitude comes from very, which is like verify, like truth,
Yes.
versus similitude, simile, like truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the suspension.
Okay, I get it. So
SAT word.
It was just a word I had never heard before, and I genuinely believe it. Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
That is the idea.
You
but I
want
think
them to.
If you're talking about wrestling fans, that's not a word you.
I
was gonna say, yeah,
Well,
no,
here's the thing. Here's the
I
thing.
like it.
Here's the thing. Here's the
I
thing.
do
You,
like
you
it.
want your fans to suspend disbelief.
Yeah.
When you start
the
suspending
wrestlers,
disbelief,
the wrestlers are the ones who need
Chill
to
out.
look into verisimilitude.
You believe in your own shit?
No.
Cheshire, I love that description.
Can we please let the help?
no, that's fine. I did. I said what I want to say.
Let him talk.
I said what I said.
So,
I said what I say.
I think that it's not necessarily a word that we would be able to like pull out for like
There's a dog down
everyday
there.
wrestling fans.
Yeah.
So you were saying.
Yeah, fans. Like the fans need to enjoy it. The fans need like the homophobic fans in Arkansas. They needed to go from hating me for one reason to hating me for why I want them to hate me.
Right.
That's what you control.
Nice.
Everything else after that, like I know there's a lot of buzz going around right now about like pulling the curtain back. Curtain's already pulled back. God damn.
Kayfabe's been dead how long?
WWE fucking did it themselves. The top company in this industry did it themselves. They
People
did
have
Tough
been doing
Enough.
it since
They
the
did Total
beginning.
Divas. Like it's pulled back. Okay, like y'all just want to put toothpaste back in the tube. I think once you just admit that it's a performance, it's theater, it's fun, it's athletic. There is still the athletic aspect to it. There's a competitive aspect to it, because even if you don't take the competitive aspect to it within the match, there is the competitive aspect of it in the industry. Where you want to be the best. You want to be the one that people invest in, that people want to favor you over other people. That's the competitive side of it. That's what you need to be focusing on. You need to make yourself the best that you can be. And here, it is a performance art. Casey.
Okay, I do actually have another question for you. As somebody who has been on the other side and understands where you're coming from, what kind of like advice would you have for younger guys that can't make that sort of distinction? What would you say to
Costume
help
diverter gymnastics, I love you.
What sort of advice would you give to those young folks who just start eating their own
Okay.
fucking
Yep,
shit
yep,
and
yep.
just think that they're the hot shit because they own some sort of fucking belt?
The people who are the most successful at this don't take this as seriously as the people who aren't.
Thank you.
That's the one. The people who are the most successful have fun, they do the ridiculous shit, they don't take themselves too seriously, and they are successful.
Look at Seth Rollins.
No, I'm kidding.
I do. He's hot.
No, but like, damn, like, yeah. Like they'll do the ridiculous. Look at the Miz.
He's truly had.
Miz is never not ridiculous.
No.
Right.
Miz is amazing.
He will do the dumbest shit.
Motherfucking Cody Rhodes.
Bro.
Homelander.
No, honestly, let's talk about Cody Rhodes for a second, because he went from doing Stardust shit to doing whatever the fuck it is that he's doing now. Tell me that's not somebody who's dedicated to putting the gimmick over before
No,
they
exactly.
before they put their personal selves fucking over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude went back to WWE.
Yeah.
And
No, I'm just saying. It's like
the key word in sold out is sold.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
True.
Make that money. He's nice too.
Yeah.
he is. Anyways,
So yeah. So Byron, have you ever had a feeling or thought that you ever wanted to come back to wrestling, or are you done for good?
I have thought about it and thought against it. I thought about doing one last match, but then no, because it would have been a lot of prep time for the one instance, and honestly, the last incident, the deciding factor to quit was because, like I said, finding out so many people were guilty in the speak out thing.
Yeah.
I felt like the water was rising, that there was just nowhere to go. And so then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to focus on where I go, and I'm going to only work for like 2 places. And like one was, MPX, and the other was PCW down in San Antonio, which was Pride Championship Wrestling. And I'm like, okay, the money goes to like, AIDS research in San Antonio or like LGBTQ youth.
Right.
Like things of that aspect, I'm totally down for and everything. Then found out the promoter's a sex offender. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm done.
At PCW?
I'm done. Yes. Yeah.
No,
I was about to say, Kirby.
I was like, remember, PCW being Pride Championship.
Pride Championship
Yeah,
Wrestling.
No,
Pride Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
I lost the plot somewhere.
Yep.
ADHD kicked in,
Yes.
Yep.
and I'm like,
He's
Kirby
a
is
registered
not.
sex
Kirby
offender.
is very much not.
Yeah, a registered sex offender. And I'm like, I didn't know this.
Yeah.
And nobody else who worked with you did either. That's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I'm done. I'm too old for this.
Yeah.
No, not worth it. Not worth it. It was not worth it. It was not worth my peace of mind at all.
Although my fantasy booking would be just like you, me, Reza, and Casey all on a 4-way.
Got a pen and paper? Write it out. We actually
Trust
said.
me, I did.
Actually, it's so funny. We one of the last matches we pitched was going to be me, Reza, Dallin, and I think it was going to be Casey. We were going to do an I Quit ladder match.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
How does that work?
We just like a ladder match, except we all want to quit.
So whoever grabs it officially gets to retire. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I like that.
I'm not being a part.
I know, right? I think we even thought. I don't think it was Casey, but I think we were like. I think Livy wants to quit too. It's like that would have been the 4-way.
Yeah.
That would have been you, me, Dallin, Reza. I quit ladder match. Absolutely.
Let's see. One of you is still somewhat active, so
everybody-
3 of you won that match.
Yeah.
Fine, we would have put Casey in that spot.
And so everybody that we told this to, they're like, "How are you going to do that?" I'm like, "You don't understand. We want to stop. We want to stop what we're doing.
It's the first one.
It's gonna just be a ladder match.
Taking the mic from each other.
It's just going to be a ladder match."
It's the pink slip on a pole match, but there's 4 poles
I was gonna say,
with 4 briefcases, and
everyone's
everyone's got a pink slip.
It was like one of the early episodes of The Simpsons where it was like Bart and Lisa are fighting, and Homer breaks it up. He's like, "What are you 2 fighting over? We're fighting over who loves you more." "Oh, go ahead. You love him more. No, you love him more." Like, yes. That's what we wanted. That was the fantasy booking.
All right,
So if I see that anywhere, I take 10% of the house.
50%. Oh,
10. I said 10.
Oh, so you're still gonna take $12.
Yeah, you're still making it to the.
Yeah. More than I made on a Lucha show. Get out.
Well, Reza lost that match because she's still wrestling, so.
Casey, so
She made a choice. And we're happy she's back too.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Very excited.
Very happy, very excited.
So what was your official last match?
Official last match was... It was actually at PCW, Pride Championship Wrestling in San Antonio. It was during Pride. If I want to say it was last year, if not the year before. I kind of want
I was
to
gonna say, wasn't that one that you were like, I'm coming back for like 1 match?
Yeah, and it was actually going to come back for 2 because that was the number 1 contendership match. Mm-hmm. And then I was going to, fight for the title and then drop the title, just like retire it and then do like a guest referee spot and like hand the thing over and whatnot. But then, hey, you're a sex offender. So, and I actually had to like talk to the champion and I told him that, and then he said he didn't know any of that. Mm-hmm. And he's like, do you have any proof of this? And I'm like, yeah, here. And it was like the link to the registry, not a screenshot. Not a screenshot. Link to the registry. And he's like, damn, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, take a couple days. I'm just letting you know, like, I would have loved to have wrestled you. It was Matt the Wrestler.
Okay.
And like that would have been fun, would have been great. Not gonna happen, sorry.
Yeah. Did you know going in that was your last match?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, because my intention, it was a number 1 contender.
Right.
I was going to do one more official match. It was going to be that one, and then just be guest ref until title changed hands. Yeah, but no, I was it was just my last straw. I was just like,
Yeah.
it's not worth it anymore.
It's like I always thought that was a I'm doing a favor for a friend kind of thing, and your last official match was the Kings Royalty Ewan Johnson versus Tatum and Manning.
Yeah. I think it was might have been my last one at MPX.
It was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Let's see. Greg asks, so how do you feel about Effie in wrestling? Is he doing a great job for wrestling? Did you ever have a chance to wrestle?
I did not get a chance to wrestle Effie. I mean, it would have been fun. I mean, I think he's doing a good job. I think he shined a lot of light onto LGBTQ in wrestling.
That was something I was going to ask, because we talked about it a little bit with someone recently.
Thank you,
Is,
James.
do you think Effie has kind of helped the LGBTQ, or do you think he's hurt? Because a lot of people, they're a little both on both sides of the IWC, which IWC is toxic. But a lot of people have said he's helped the LGBTQ in wrestling. A lot of people said he's kind of hurt it.
How are they saying that he hurt? I'm not gonna say that he is. I don't know how they're saying.
That a lot of his act is just for show. That's not really him. A lot of the Effie Gay's Big Brunch is just it's a show. They're
His gimmick is being
exaggerated.
gay.
They're not weird. They're not really like that. Stuff like that. Like, but again, it's wrestling. You're supposed to turn yourself up to 11.
Yeah.
Like so it's the IWC is just toxic in general, especially when it becomes against, it's a lot of homophobia coming out. It's that people are hating LGBTQ
First of all,
just because they don't really get it.
Yeah, first of all, I don't need homophobes telling me what's hurting the LGBTQ community when you're the ones doing it yourselves.
Right.
Second, like, whether you think it's, hyperbolic or, just like too extreme or anything, the bottom line is that even the too extreme does represent a community.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't represent the entire community, but it does represent maybe underrepresented ones.
Right.
We kind of give them the spotlight because they do exist. I think it just makes people uncomfortable.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, fine. I mean, I can kind of get behind, age appropriateness depending on certain things, but
just being gay isn't, an age.
It's not. And then you kind
issue.
of got to kind of look at what's hetero age appropriate is not necessarily considered homo age appropriate. Because you can get, women in two pieces barely there or a bra and panties match and have kids at the show. But you can't have, a guy doing splits and kissing another man.
Right. Which, it was weird. I can't remember the promotion that is in Texas. They're actually having a bra and panties match, and I'm just like, really nowadays?
2023?
I was like, why? I don't get it. I know Satica is in it, but I don't remember the opponent.
I'll show you
I don't remember
everything.
the
She's
promotion. But I was like, why are we doing a bra and panties match right now? This is weird.
Yeah.
So
Feels really uncomfortable.
yeah, it's why it makes no sense to me.
And see, that's the thing that a lot of people, especially, let's get a little serious here. A lot of people, especially in the climate in Texas, not the hot ass climate, but like in the political climate.
As you sit in a sweater, okay, go ahead.
AC going on and a fan, bite me. And with that climate, you see everybody say things like gender affirming care and non-sexual related material for kids and everything, and it's like you're so targeted on these specific buzzwords representing this specific community, you don't see how it affects your own. Like when you say we don't want gender affirming care in our school, then that also means tampons for girls. If you say you don't want sexualized performances, okay, goodbye Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Like you don't. Like you're just swinging blind, but you're swinging at one specific community that you're not taking accountability for the same stuff for yourself.
Right.
Baby, get in this room. God.
Oh, it got moved to November.
Okay.
Wait, November?
Local wrestling in Houston.
Okay, I know what all those words mean separately. What does this mean to me now?
Local wrestling is a promotion out in Houston that's
I got that.
Diamond
And apparently
Back.
the bra and panties has moved to.
Oh, okay, all right.
a hardcore bra and panties match.
Okay.
We can't just have a hardcore match. It's just
No.
I don't like I said, it's weird to me. I don't know. 2023.
Does that mean scissors are legal?
Good job, Houston.
Yeah, yes, scissors are legal in a hardcore match.
So they're just.
No, sir.
And see,
Don't
that's
go
what I
there.
mean when
What?
What? I missed something. You got mad. I missed something. What did you just say that caused this to
I
happen?
told him not to go there.
And he said, what?
Anyways.
No, I know where he's going. With
Stop
that.
it. I don't
No.
want two Christmases. Like,
No.
in there in the chat, like, god damn.
I'm outside. I want to be a part of it. So to watch.
So going about it, because you touched a little bit on how wrestling is very high school. Obviously, you growing up in high school, you being out and everything like that. In wrestling, did you feel kind of similar aspects of Tree coming out and stuff like that, or were you just you and everyone was like, okay, cool, whatever?
I see what you're asking. Okay, yeah. No, I was very much me.
Yeah.
Like, not as part of the character. Yeah, like in training, like, my husband was always there. He would exercise, or he would, like, he was starting to critique people's roles. He watched plenty. No, because, like, it was so hard. Like, after having the conversation of you don't want to be known as a gay wrestler,
right.
Then it was like, okay, but, like, I still am gay, so, like, you're gonna have to deal with that, frankly. And so we had, like, a couple of, like, LGBTQ trainees come in and everything like that, and I think that, just kind of me being there and just not even necessarily being someone to confide in, but they knew that there was someone there.
Right.
I don't know conversations that they've had behind closed doors or anything. Yes, Mario, you're here. Like, I don't know conversations they've had or experiences they've had, but at the very least, I was there to make sure that in the nicest way and most comfortable way possible, that your sexuality did not matter. Stick your fucking forearms. Yes.
Okay, so
I really hope you have a question and not the other thing.
I do. The other thing.
What?
Oh, fair.
There you go.
So, for as somebody who has a partner that is outside of wrestling, do you ever feel that you need to cull them, like, from what they say about the wrestling industry
No.
because of something that you have dealt with?
No.
Okay, so why?
Well, like, in what way?
Okay, so
She tells me to shut up all the time.
Oh,
so.
I do. a lot of the reason that I ask is because if it's something that has to deal with a way that a move is performed, or that is something story based, it's let it play out, or you don't know how the actual move is supposed to be, then you don't know how it's supposed to work. Like,
You told me!
mechanically, so you're not allowed to talk about it.
Yes and no, because I don't have to fly head first through a windshield to know I'm not going to enjoy it.
Right.
And to know that it's not safe.
Sure.
He was able to recognize that, ooh, wow, that was a little dicey and everything. He never critiqued anybody.
Oh, okay. So that's
He never
the most thing that I'm thinking
critiqued,
about.
but he did say, like, ooh, what was up with that suplex and thing like that? Or, like, on the rolls, he could do rolls.
Sure.
I mean, 6-year-olds do rolls.
Right.
And so, sorry. I feel the same way about cartwheels, though. Anytime someone does cartwheels and they're like, Lucha, and I'm like, 3-year-olds do cartwheels. Like, you can tell when, like, someone's not getting up onto their feet, or when they're just, like, kind of flopping and everything. Like, that was just some pretty basic stuff. But no, he never, like, went outside of his bounds.
All right. So what would you consider those bounds, though?
Like, one, he never got in the ring to tell somebody, this is how your arm's supposed to go, this is how you lift, like, this is how they're supposed to land. Like, he never did any of that. He did say, yeah, they looked a little shaky, it was like, they're not, like, he could sometimes see things from a different angle that I couldn't. So he's like, hey, I see they're not lifting for this particular thing. I was like, oh, cool. Hey, can you do that again and not kill somebody? Cool. All right, yeah, you're not lifting. He was just another angle.
Do you think that it's appropriate for outsider views, at least from a fan perspective, to be able to take criticism from other fans or from? Okay.
You mean like this show?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's directing this at me. When I sit there and be like, oh, that's an ugly ass
You mean
arm
like
drag, she'll be like, shut the fuck up. You don't know what they're
You mean
like,
this thing?
Let me rephrase. Shit. All right. So, do you think that it is appropriate for someone who has never been through training to be able to critique what goes on during a match?
They do anyway.
Dave Meltzer made a whole career out of it.
Hello.
Yes.
Fuck Dave Meltzer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, they do. They do. They're, again, toothpaste in the tube. Like, they already do.
Do you think that's a detriment to the wrestling community?
No, because I think that if somebody who hasn't trained can tell you're fucking up,
Oh, thank God I'm not lying.
Go to training.
That's what I wanted.
You don't have to say names, but is there anyone you ever want to refuse to wrestle? How can I do that and not say names?
There was one guy.
in the past.
Names.
Wait. Past tense. Ever refused to? No, I never did. No, the last refusal was to not just stop wrestling. I wanted to wrestle.
And I was going to say, that was the promoter. That wasn't
Yeah,
even
it wasn't
the
even
opponent.
anybody. No, I think even there was, even the most, untrained people, we all know who we're thinking of. You thought of somebody, you thought of somebody, you thought of somebody, and you thought of somebody. Even those untrained people that...
Fiddles in the chat, that's rude.
Wow!
Going from attacking his dead dad to him.
Goddamn.
Phil,
Cool.
Phil knows I love him.
Get off camera now!
Wow.
I'm mad for you. At you. Like, if you're not mad at yourself, I am for you.
Get off this
No.
How dare you? How the fuck
Got
dare
the
you?
fucking point now. I forgot.
We found the line.
Refusing. No, even the most untrained people, I just didn't give them much to do. I just didn't give them much to do, and I was like, what are you comfortable with? Cool, you're doing that. They're like, oh, do you want to call? Nope. I'll see you out there, buddy. What? You have 3 things? Cool, I have 9. We're going to do my 9, and then hit your 3, and then you're going to look great.
Done. All right. So,
What's up?
So, do you think it's easier to be a face or a heel?
It is easier to be a heel. It's easy for people to hate you. It's harder to make people like you. It was... I think it's more fun to be a heel. You make more money as a face. But no, I mean, it's kind of... I like being a heel more than I like being a face because, one, I get to, fuck around with my opponent. I can, smack them around, make them laugh, or, just, be really stupid with them, and I feel better. I used to do this thing where I would, hold them and be like, stop hitting yourself. I used to just fuck with people so hard. But as a face, it's hard to, kind of reel that in, and I almost felt like sometimes as a face, I don't know if I like the generic way that it's presented to people to be a face, where it's you have to make people want you, and for that you have to be so pathetic that they want you to win. You have to be getting your ass beat so hard. It's or you could just be really good at this. Mm-hmm. Liu Kang was winning pretty much every single fight all through Mortal Kombat until the end, and there was one loss. It wasn't even a loss. His girlfriend got kidnapped, and then it's he was going, and we all still rooted for him. It was just a progressive thing. It's just, I think that there are more aspects to being a face than what's taught.
Yes.
Although I would say that your gimmick especially gave you a lot of leeway on being able to do more heelish
If
stuff.
I made a complete douchebag in front of me just giggle, I have the fans. Then I got them. What was hard was pretending to be pathetic.
Yeah.
It's oh my God, it hurt. I think it was hard. I made 935 people?
Yes.
What is your favorite move, and was it more challenging and fun chasing the belt? Favorite move were always the lucha moves, head scissors, ranas, and everything like that. Those was, because the first match I saw had Lita in it. So boom, I was like, damn, lucha, get into it.
Didn't want to do the whale thong and everything like she did. You just,
Oh, yeah.
Didn't want that.
What? Yeah.
Was told no.
Yes. Was it more challenging and fun chasing the belt? I will say this, and I don't care who hears it. A title is an easy story. It is a very, very easy story.
So you're under the impression, like Bruce Pritchard always talked about on his podcast, it's a fucking prop. It doesn't really matter who has it.
Yeah.
It just is a prop.
I had more fun when I lost the belt. Mm-hmm. Because I could, we were building up a heel turn, and then I got to fuck around. I got to build my own group and everything. It was more fun because, like I said, the belt is easy. Chasing the belt, boom, that's my motivation.
Yeah.
Cool. Keeping the belt, that's your motivation. Cool. Where's your personality though? Yes, my God. I'm kidding. What's up?
You're driving me crazy. All right. So with the idea of with the Bruce Pritchard thing, do you think that it really depends on the storyline that you have with the belt, or is it the storyline that you produce with the belt?
I mean, it's got to be both. I mean, we can't pretend like there isn't somebody giving you a story.
Sure, but it's not like you can't derive from that story to make the story even better.
I mean, it depends because, like, it's a story that you're given. Is it just you're going to keep the belt? Is it you're going to, constantly be chased by one person for the belt? Like, you're being given this story.
Right.
The chemistry is what you're doing with that person. So it's both. It has to be both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What, Brandon? What, Brandon? Why? Why what?
He's talking to Shepard. Johnson.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that you remember those Gigolos catchphrase.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
at one point.
Former tag partner of yours.
Oh yeah. We could have been called the Gigolos.
God
Shut
damn
the
it!
fuck up!
Oh, that
So you
was
gotta come back
great.
for one more match.
I have a new tattoo.
No, I do not have to come back for one more match.
What
He doesn't have to, but I'm gonna make it.
going into the tag team a little bit,
Yeah.
did you like and prefer tag teams or singles, or how did you kind of feel about?
In my 30s, I loved being in a tag team. I could do so much less.
Yeah, but you were tagged with Gigolo, who was older and made you do more, probably.
Believe it or not, I had to reel him in. Every now and then. There were times.
No,
like,
we believe
There were
that.
times that he's like putting shit together, and I'm like,
Wait a minute.
in 9 minutes, okay.
That man is like the definition of, nope, I'm too old for this. I can't do this anymore. But
And
the
then
moment
he'll
he
still
does,
do it.
yeah,
He's too old for it, but he'll do it.
Oh, see, no, that's
he'll throw himself off the top rope and land face first in the middle of the ring.
that's not Jigs. Jigs is very much of a, you want me to do what? Okay, hold on, let me stretch.
He'll be ready to do it. Like I said, he'll still do it. No, I like the tag team because I like working with people. But I did work by myself for so long that like I kind of like having that control. Like I was kind of running my own storyline at a Lucha show at the Gaston Bazaar because hold on, you can laugh at it all you want, but the promoter makes the promoter makes some bomb ass gear.
Yeah, he fucking does.
No,
Y'all can laugh all
everybody's,
you want. I work that gear off.
everybody's got that story.
Damn right. And that was fun because I, was able to, kind of play with the crowd. He was like, he did. Usually in lucha shows, like there's not much of a story if you aren't following. It is really more competitive, which I kind of like that. But I got to be someone that was actually that had a consistent story. So like I got a title there, and then dropped it a couple bit later. But we were still like building the story that actually brought more and more people to it because of who I was facing. So that was fun.
Going back a little bit, because you were talking about, tags and singles, you like being single because you kind of controlled it. When you were in House of Sagan, obviously trying to be something completely different than what you have been, did you still feel you had control in kind of making the emo Byron come out? Or was it more you're playing a role that you were given?
Well, it was interesting because I don't think we were ever booked together, all of us, except for maybe once or twice.
And the wedding was,
The wedding was one of them, and then the Hateful Eight was one.
Right.
But we didn't have much tag. I was still a part of House Sagan, but I did a lot multi-man matches on my own.
Right.
And I think
He was the wild card.
Yeah, I was the wild card. I could just go anywhere and do whatever.
You really were kind of able to make it your own. Like,
Yeah.
they were like, hey, be yourself, but just a little darker and emo.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Which isn't that far. Not a far drive for me. No.
It's like, oh, I don't have to put the mask on? Awesome.
No, I did not ever wrestle Matt Palmer. It would have been fun, but no.
Centerfold Monster Hunter?
Paths never crossed. Paths never crossed.
Yep.
Is that, kind of touch on that a little bit, is that, obviously that's one you kind of wish you would have wrestled. Is there anyone else that you really, really wanted to wrestle and you just never got in there with?
At the time, yeah, not so much anymore. Like I don't look at anything longingly, but like right before COVID, right before we had a show that we were supposed to do, that my original opponent was Graham Bell, and we had never wrestled each other, and that would have been fun. He's a great guy. I think we did a tag match, wrestled against each other in a tag match in that one really hateful Illinois show, But then, for some reason, he fell through, and then it had to be Ryan Davidson, which also somebody I had never wrestled, and that would have been fun too. And then COVID literally hit on Thursday, and so none of it happened. So I was like, oh well, damn. So I would have liked, just because I feel like those are unfinished, and Matt the wrestler, the ones that never happened that were supposed to, those are the ones that I kind of miss.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll keep spinning.
The emo Christmas special. Wow. Like, how was that for you? Like,
that was fun. That was fun.
How much of that? Because we saw the vignettes and the show itself. How much of that was management and Richard, and how much of that was like you and Dave and James and Lizzie?
He basically gave us
it all.
Yeah, he basically gave us like the premise.
Yeah.
And like that was really more about like that was Dave's story.
Right.
Like, Dave was trying to like put the holiday spirit into us, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay, cool. Luckily, I've always had 2 Christmases, so good for you, Dave. Let's do the damn thing. I remember like one scene he was doing like the dreidel, and then as a fan way, I went Yahtzee.
Yes. I do love that. That was
Like I
awesome.
got to
remember
have fun with that in like just like a very controlled setting, whereas like I was not trying to take focus, but like I remember we were caroling and like, hey, Merry Christmas, it's all the Christmas, go get your Christmas, it's outside, like something. Like I was just completely not into it. That's what I loved about my character there, was like I could be goofy but also so disinterested.
Right.
I'll participate, but I'm not gonna like it. So that was fun.
The Bob's Burgers thing. Okay, fine, we'll go. I'm paying the entire time.
Right.
James, you beat me too. Shut up. Let it go.
I was going to say, that was the...
Everybody beats each other.
Where are you going?
What?
I gotta pee.
You did that? No.
You like just leave your show? Wow.
Yes. All the time.
Okay. All right. Go off.
Um,
Any questions on that, Rick?
No.
What else you got?
Dang it, I had one in this.
Kyle has
Chat,
always
any
been a
questions?
fucking train wreck.
Yeah.
Ask me anything. I have zero filter right now. James, you had to have beat me once.
I know for a fact he did. The first match I saw.
See?
with,
Shut up, James.
After you had turned heel. Because you just kind of got sick of his shit and then beat the snot out of
Yeah,
him
shut
and
up, James.
beat him. So,
Totally happened.
yeah.
Let it go. Jesus
At least
Christ.
that's how I remember it. It's been 5 years. Jeez. It was about mentorship.
It was about mentorship?
Yeah, it's the question I was going to ask.
Okay, mentorship. Go. Chat, any questions? We've had multiple matches, James. I'm not getting into this with you. Jesus Christ.
See?
And then, so I won, and then you beat me up. So.
Okay, that may
Oh
be
my
what I
God! Who
remember.
cares? Let it go.
Sorry for how quiet this is.
Was there ever a move you refused to take?
Yeah, there we go.
There was one that I kind of regret not doing, because looking back on it now, I'm like, this was easy. I think it was just explained wrong, and it was God damn it, what's his name? I don't know. I was in a multi-man match, and they were doing like a stratisfaction on someone, and you caught them into a power bomb, and I was like, and he was like, so can you catch them into a power bomb? And I'm like, looking back on it now, what he was asking for was actually really fucking simple. It was really just like, was all I had to do. But it was just explained in such a weird way that I was like, we don't have time to like parse this out. I'm gonna say no. So, but to take, no. I really, trust myself on a lot of things. Especially when like, oh God, who was it? Like Xavier Daniels. He will turn everything into a driver. He's like, hey, can I practice this? I'm like, yeah, let's go. He's gonna hit the mat before I do, so. But yeah, no, I never refuse anything.
I think the Iron Man match between the two of you was one of my favorite matches because just him running around the ring.
That chicken was good.
Was it chicken? I thought it was turkey.
chicken.
It was.
It tastes like
baked
chicken.
and baked.
Tastes like
baked
chicken.
and broccoli.
It was good. Oh God, I love broccoli.
If it's
Oh my
Xavier,
God.
it was unseasoned turkey. He's talked about that so much.
That was still good. Broccoli was bomb too.
Let's see. Do you still follow wrestling?
Sometimes, like, I don't know. Not locally, like not any of the local stuff. No, too much has happened, and don't know. I don't trust any of y'all, frankly. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I do follow the girls, Riza and Casey. Whenever they go out and everything, I try to make
So
sure
you're
that
friends.
if they're none of y'all.
It's fair.
Yeah, I support my friends. Yeah. Full goddamn stop.
Fucking not your friend.
Whatever. What match you in right now?
I still do a podcast, motherfucker. Follow me.
No.
He is here. So.
No. I did this for you, damn it. I'm back on screen in front of a rainbow brick drop for you.
Yeah, I remember the first time I watched the
Jesus.
back.
I know. I remember you.
When I first watched the back, I'm like, you stole my background.
No, I bought it from the same place you did.
Amazon?
Yeah. And then we got our own, and it was better.
Yes, it was.
I was going to say,
I'm not gonna lie. It was,
I was gonna say, I hate
the
this
locker room.
background.
I loved it. Everybody was like, "Are you in a locker room?" And I'm like, "No." Yeah.
No, I thought that was.
I know.
I thought that was so cool.
It was cool. That's why it was the back.
Yeah.
It was the back. Yeah, that was fun.
Which, pretty sure I know your answer, because everything we've talked about a little bit.
You preface a lot of your questions. Keep going.
I do, because, that's what I do. So I don't know why. Anyways, I know that you've kind of already touched on this a little bit, but do you think COVID kind of made your more decision to quit, or was it flat out the call out and the thing that had
Not
the
even
pride
just the
and all
call
that?
out. Not even just call out. There were a few incidents,
Yeah.
personal incidents that happened.
Okay.
That there's a lot of boundary issues, particularly when like people want to be your friend, but then want to be your coach at the same time. It's like you could be one or the other.
Right.
But the problem is whenever there's a situation that arises where they try to be both, when it suits them. The first major instance that happened was, I will admit this, that I said something on a public thread that upset somebody. When I look at it, to me, the words themselves are not upsetting, but it's upsetting to that person.
Okay.
So we were doing like a little back and forth, and then I see the next comment, a tone has completely shifted. So I messaged them and I'm like, hey, is everything okay? I feel like things are kind of changing. They went off. They said, no, you don't do this, you don't do that, everything else. It's like, okay, cool. Listen, sorry. I didn't mean anything like that. Love you. Hope things are good. If they're not, you can talk to me. And then, blocked, unfriended. I'm like, okay, you're angry, cool off and everything. So then I go about my business that day. Later on, somebody shares this exchange in a group chat with like me, several other people. And, they wanted to stir the pot, call me out on something. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to tell you this, that it's between me and this person. I've already reached out and apologized. I didn't know this was such a trigger for them. They're like, you know them better than that. I'm like, no, because like I said, even on this show, I don't hang out with people. I do not hang out with everybody personally, okay? Once that ring is down, I'm out, okay? Period. It is exactly that. So then, so as that's going on, I really stick to that. I'm like, this has nothing to do with you. This is just between me and them. Leave it alone. Then, coach gets involved. And then he's coming in as the buddy. And it's like, no, you were out of line for this. You should know better. It's not an excuse. This and that. By the way, all this is substantiated. I still have the chat and the screenshots of this. Because I kind of need to, because I left the chat shortly after. As this is going on, I'm like, he's going off the rails. He's starting to get a little personal. Me being in my 30s, I'm like, I'm going to stay on topic. Like I said, this is between me and this person.
Right.
Nobody else. Leave it alone. When they are ready to talk to me, I'm willing to talk to them. My stance on this has not changed. Things get escalated. He still gets a little too personal and everything. I will admit my last message on this chat was a little performative because I was like, well, guys, this was a little embarrassing. It wasn't, because I knew he looked completely unhinged. And even to the point where Risa was actually in this message too. And so I see her head move and the dots go, and I call her and I'm like, don't. Do not. Whatever you're about to type, don't do it. And she was like, I was about to hit send. I'm like, I know. This is the only time I ever told her.
That's why I called and didn't text.
It is the only time I ever told her not to do something. It was because I knew anybody who looks at this, he looks unhinged. He looks out of pocket. Leave it. Leave it. And so I left it at that. A couple days later, we have a phone call. And he said that he felt like there was a disconnect between our messages. By the way, I'm just going to say this. This is a phone call. I cannot substantiate it, So the other things I can. This was just my own experience. We had a talk, and he said I felt like there was a disconnect between what was being said. I felt like I was saying one thing, then maybe you were taking too long to type, and then you responded to something else. And I'm like, no, I was 100% focused, and I typed quickly. And he said, oh, well then I don't really know what happened. I was like, what happened is you came in as their friend and spoke to me like their friend. So I spoke to you like their friend. When I spoke to you like their friend, you became coach again. If you were going to be a coach, you sit us both down and say, what's the situation? And you try to quell it. Instead, you came at me as a buddy and tried to drag me in front of other people. And I did not appreciate that. I also didn't appreciate another tweet that he made later on where he said, my parents always told me, go out and talk to your friends that way because you're not talking to me like that. And I said, funny thing is you're neither my parent nor my friend. We are too close in age. I'm too old for this, which means you are too. And said that there was a huge boundary issue because I really don't believe that a lot of coaches, trainers, promoters, anything that puts themselves into an authority figure can see themselves as anything other than authority figure because they want to be friends, they want to be buddy-buddy, but then when someone gets a little too bold with them, they switch. I think that's not just a wrestling thing, that is an industry, that is a human thing. Mm-hmm. That is absolutely a human thing. And that was the situation here.
It's the respect me as an authority, and so if you respect me as an authority,
I'll show you guys the
I'll
chat
respect you
later.
as authority. I'll respect you as a person.
Yeah.
Kind of situation.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't think you can see other people as people. I think they are students, underlings, work for you. They are all these things. Yeah. Yes.
Besides that specific interaction, do you feel like that is something that goes across the board, or do you with other promotions, or do you think that it's strictly for that one instance for you?
The only thing I can speak to is my instance. I don't think I have had that issue with other people because I've not had as long or as close of a relationship with them. So I cannot speak to that. Speak to my own, and that was my own.
Cool.
And then the whole Ryan Davidson thread where it was, are you talking about me? And it's like, you are. You are.
I do want to clarify
said
one
nothing.
other thing, because whenever I was outside and I did ask you about the whole Matt Wrestler thing,
I
was that
actively ignore you
I
on here because you're over there.
Also,
But yeah, go ahead.
Also, fuck you. You were like, come inside. So, I specifically about the Matt Wrestler thing. Was that something that he was called out for, or
No.
was that he was just being like, hey, you need to know about this. Let me show this to you.
No. Matt was not called out. It was the promoter of Pride Championship Wrestling.
Okay,
It was the booker.
Okay, good. Then that's
No.
still one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
No. Oh yeah, and we got blocked.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, we got blocked, which is so funny. Like first he tells on himself, and then somebody gets into the chat and like corrects his grammar, and then he blocks everybody.
Oh, wow! Oh, he got the killing blow too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. We got blocked, and we're still blocked. And like I don't particularly.
I know that feeling.
And I don't particularly care.
I
Like,
mean, it happens.
it happens, and that's the thing. And what was funny about all of these situations put together is that I have heard 4 or 5 different reasons why I quit DFW and why I quit wrestling in general, which kind of makes me believe that what actually happened was a little too close to the truth. Because otherwise, why do I need 5 reasons to quit?
Right.
When it could just be, we had a boundary issue, we decided to part. And it was just actually what happened first. What?
No, that was my question.
That was it?
Yeah, would you like to explain what it is that, why you quit and why you decided to leave?
I mean, that was it. Like, that was why I quit there. And then when I started hearing the reasons why I quit DFW, I tagged myself training at MPX.
Okay, so was that the start of you going to MPX?
To train, yeah.
To
Yeah.
train?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did you train at MPX?
I trained for a few months. And then the height of pandemic and stuff, like, really started cooking. Because I think that was the time of like the fight, win, survive, and everything like that. But then when things started to get a little too serious, like I think, God damn it, sorry to say this, guys, but once I started to actually lose people, I stopped.
No,
That's
I
fine.
stopped.
Perfectly
I stopped.
acceptable.
that is, yeah.
Yeah,
Which is, and that's the thing, when you look at wrestling, at least locally, or maybe even globally, it was
I lost my marriage.
COVID, and it was the call out. So many wrestlers started retiring.
Yep.
And it's kind of one of those, like, was it the calling out that they retired from, or was it the COVID that they
Well, I think I also
did?
lucked out. I
Yeah.
lucked out with my age and my experience to not think that there's no wrestling, there's nothing for me.
Right.
So I got a good job, I have my husband, I have my cats, I have my family. You know, as long as we, you know, stay home, take care of each other and everything, like, I was fine. What's that?
Do you think there was ever any sort of like hatred for the industry going on past what they did with COVID? Because we still have the WWE that had to push on because obviously they
X-ray tech.
But do you think indie wise, people could have stopped a lot sooner? Or they could have stopped doing, you know, fans in the ring and blah 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 blah. Like, do you think there's something we could have done prior to it being a full blown epidemic that could have caused?
I mean,
or could have satiated a lot of what we've done.
Yes and no, but it's not exclusive to wrestling. Yes and no. Everybody could have done something better. There were people in all industries that were still towing the line, that, you know, were still crossing the line. And, you know, it made the country very, very divisive. But I think that within wrestling, there was at least the kind of respect for the people that didn't. They're like, hey, you know, do you want to work this weekend? And it's like, I'm not working until COVID's up. Cool, I'll check with you next month or whatever. Because there was this threshold that nobody really wants to talk about where the first month or 3 where things were uncertain positively. We were like, things might clear up next week. Everything's going to go back next week. Everything's going to be great. Everything's going to go back to normal, which is kind of what led to my initial incident because the initial comment thread we were talking about, I had this like image in my head of people that were still like typing out full promos and everything. I'm like, you're not booked this weekend. What the fuck are you doing? And I was like imagining people like at the dinner table calling out their daughter or like in full gear yelling at their cat. Like I had this image in my head, but I realized that everybody in wrestling were kind of splitting. You had the people that still thought things were going to change next week, and people like, I really need to be doing something to keep my bills paid.
Practice makes perfect. You gotta stay in character, man.
I mean, hell, when that
Yes.
promo face-off thing happened,
I really
I
just
would
said nod, but I just
love
said
the
yes.
hell out of that.
But yeah, and so that was like, you know, kind of led to the incident because I said something, it was triggering for them, which, hey, I take responsibility for that. And that was the main thing that kind of pissed me off in that whole message was, one, everybody in there knew me better than to know that I was just going to come at somebody.
Okay.
And then two, that, I forgot the second one was. Moving on. I did.
You would already acknowledge your part in that.
Yeah. Yes, that was the thing. Oh, that's what it was. Because they were like, you know, stop making excuses. You need to be held accountable. And I'm like, I know I need to be held accountable, just not by you.
Yeah.
That was the boundary issue. Not by you. Period. It's them.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. Why are you still talking?
Do you feel like there's anybody who has been a part of that conversation of like, hey, this is my boundary and I don't need you to be a part of it, that is still like
I wish I
kind
could
of like
express it.
pushed off into this next generation of like, oh, just fucking do it.
Say that again?
Like with COVID being the thing, right? Like being the whole like, hey, this is why I'm not doing it.
Uh-huh.
Has there anybody been in your life that you have noticed that has been like, just do it, just keep going, just keep going forward, that is still wrestling now, that makes you go, maybe not that person, because they're not giving my life the sort of same total
Respect?
as they are with themselves?
I mean, not really, because at that point, everybody was doing what they thought was best. You know, I mean, everybody was, you know, willing to gamble certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't. I mean, that's really all it was. And so the people that are, like, still going, like, good for you. I mean, you never lost a step. Well,
Yeah.
Some of you. But you know, like, there was such an uncertainty and then divisiveness that it was easy to see where people would, like, fall into certain camps. And still, like, nobody believed that they were inherently doing bad.
Right.
They thought they were doing what was best, or they thought that things were not bad enough to warrant such things. Whether you believed it or not, cool. I just was not one of those people.
Coming coming back from COVID, I don't remember the exact date you came back, and vaccinations and stuff like that. But what made you feel, okay, I can actually get back into wrestling now that COVID obviously hadn't died off because it's still a thing, but you felt safe enough to kind of get back in there?
I think it was the legislation. Like once everything in the public started to loosen up, I was like, okay, well, I'm kind of, as long as promotions are like, being safe, as long as I'm being safe,
Right.
like I got tested regularly and I mean, all of that. So it was easy to kind of control myself and what I did. So like even when I was going back, I didn't hang out in the big group with everybody. I focused on the one person, focused on my match, did that, went outside, kept my distance. Like I was still exercising, but I was like, okay, well now that the legislation is kind of, levying some of the excuses that I had, like excuses, reasons.
Right.
Started, taking away the reasons that I had, then it's like, okay, now is appropriate. I can still stay within my comfort zones. Okay. We have talked nothing about being gay, by the way.
We tried.
I tried.
No,
and
we
we
talked
just
about
kind
it.
of
It's
went
like
past it.
I know.
But that's actually the question I was having earlier that I lost. Did you ever feel like you wanted to take up a kind of a mentorship position? Maybe not at all pro, but in the North Texas wrestling area at the time, that it was like, okay, there are other queer wrestlers coming in. I'm an old hand at this point.
I'm gonna say no, because I don't think that it requires anything special to the training. That I think fuck you, James. I think it's just I think that everybody just needs to get over themselves and lock up, frankly. It's like for the fact
the
that
sport's homoerotic to begin with.
Bruh,
so.
it's like the fact that I went 2 years before anybody even like knew publicly, like even people that I had wrestled before, and I'm like, who'd you think I was kissing? The hell did you think that was about?
I was just gonna say, I didn't find out till House Sagan. Someone told me. I go, he is?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't know.
I ran into somebody while I was at work, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you didn't know about this guy?" I'm like,
I remember one of my early matches, like, and that's another thing. We need to get into that. One of my early matches, it was like Brad Sanders, who he was like, didn't realize he was younger than me, and also had wrestled less than me at the time. But he was like, "Why didn't you make that part of your gimmick?" I'm like, "Cause that's easy. It's so easy to be a gay gimmick." And like at the time, it was like, what is that to you? It's the flamboyantness that people are saying Effie's hurting the LGBTQ community to do.
yeah.
That's what you mean. Southern Dandy can absolutely suck it. Yeah.
Okay, do you believe that a lot of the sexuality that people are bringing into the LGBT community is hurting the LGBT community?
No more than the straight people did.
So Billy and Chuck hurt or helped?
That had a chance to help.
I'm gonna say, hold on. Billy and Chuck, did they hurt or did they help? I will say, as a gay wrestling fan, they helped me. They helped me. Max Muscles can live forever or die tomorrow.
What, Max Muscles?
Absolutely. No, I think they helped me. Because even if it was farcical, it did show that there was a place. And I was like, that's kind of enough at the time. And then as it became more like the behind the scenes reveals, like this is a gay wrestler, that's a gay wrestler. Once we heard about Brian Canyon, we're like, y'all need to do better.
Yeah.
Y'all need to do better. Shout out.
God, Canyon was so good.
Yes.
Man, I was just...
Yeah.
So going back, because since you guys were up and we're touching on it, how was your childhood and everything like that? Like, when did you eventually come out? How was that conversation?
I had to come out twice.
Okay.
I had to come out twice to my mother. So
First one didn't take?
No, it didn't. And here's why.
She told you that it was just a phase?
No, I told her. No. Okay, so here's why, and this is why this is why I say that there can be homophobic instances from an altruistic place, because I was raised with it. I was raised with people being like, stay in the closet. It's safe. It's for your protection. Say when really it's for your comfortability. No, all through high school, I didn't date anybody. My parents divorced when I was like 1. So, my relationships with my parents were what they were. In high school, I grew up in, Central Texas. So not the most welcoming, which is really funny because, you'll have like the football players being like super performative gay with each other. But if you're actually gay, they'll kick your ass. And it was just very, very weird. And there wasn't like a place to go to be. And, at that time, there was no outlet for anything like that. So when I graduated, then I went to college. I actually had my first date with a guy, which is really kind of, except for like 2 girls in high school, my first real date on my own. So I called my mom and I was like, hey, I have a date on Saturday. She's like, oh, what's her name? And I said, Michael. And that was a shock to her. And I will say this, a lot of people don't understand the importance of like coming out. Mm-hmm. And the reactions that we get from our parents and things like that is that it's such a shock to the heteronormative ways that people have been raised. Mm-hmm. She went the first 18, 19 years of her life expecting grandkids and, a daughter-in-law. And now I basically just told her none of that's happening. Like that. Mm-hmm. None of that's happening the way she thought it would. Mm-hmm. And so you really do have to give your parents that kind of grace that you just flip their whole world. You got to kind of let them react the way they want. Mm-hmm. But luckily, like, I wasn't even living at home. I was in college. Mm. Like, I was in college. I was in my dorm, and so we did that. And then, but that created like a lot of friction because she was like, do you think this is a choice? And in my head, I was like, I was, not gay for the first 18 years of my life. So I was like, I guess, like, and she didn't like that because she had like, lesbian friends. She had, other gay friends that are like terrified to actually be gay. That to think that was a choice was hard for her to understand. And I got it. I got that later. That was not communicated in that phone call very well though. And then I got my first relationship and then we broke up about 1.5 years later. It was my first real breakup. And I remember calling her at like 11:30 at night. She was been asleep for 2 hours. And she was like, what? And I'm like, I know we're not in a good place, but I need you to suck it up and be my mom right now because I just got dumped. So that was like my second coming out because she didn't know that I was in a relationship for that long. I hid that from her. And so, yeah, that was basically my coming out there. Beyond that, I didn't see the need to make such a huge announcement. Right. To just say, other than like, yeah, I'm gay. That's my boyfriend. That's my husband. That's whatever.
I love it when people are like, oh, right, I keep forgetting you're bi for me. I'm like, yeah.
Do you need a constant reminder? Like, what do you need? Like, who cares?
Do I really need to put that in my profile information?
And that's the other thing about coming out that a lot of people don't understand. That's not for us. That's for y'all.
Yeah. We know who we are. Thank you.
We know. We know. That's for y'all. That's for y'all to kind of change your worldview. So get into it.
Some of y'all will live anyway. So.
But then,
by the way, Mario, hooray for non-wrestlers paying dues.
Whatever. Pay him. But now I will say that in my wrestling coming out, yeah, I was just really kind of sick of the bullshit and everything. It's like the shit that you guys did let each other get away with and I can't be gay?
Yeah.
Fuck y'all.
Did you feel going to different locker rooms and different promotions, did you constantly feel like you had to come out? Or was it kind of just no one really cared?
No, nobody really cared. And, like, that's the thing. Is like, nobody cares. Nobody cares more than the person who's giving you the advice to stay in the closet. What a self-report. What a self-report.
And sometimes that's
nobody cares.
They're telling on themselves in other ways, too. Right. They just don't realize it.
And it's from the literal definition of ignorance. You're not being malicious. You just don't know better because you weren't taught better. You were taught at a different time. But you're also too stupid to see that. And that's why you're homophobic. Which actually, I will say this right now while I have the platform. Homophobia is the proper term. It absolutely is. Because you are afraid of any other lifestyle that is different than yours because then you question your own lifestyle.
Yep.
Sorry, I just had to get that.
I ain't afraid of nothing. Yeah, you are. That's why you're sitting here making the attacks.
That's why you won't even wipe your ass good because you think it's gay. You're that close to the cliff of homosexuality that basic hygiene is going to push you off.
Oh my god.
And you know who I'm talking about.
I was gonna say, so I had a fucking lineman coach in high school that would do shit like that. Mm-hmm. He's like, you wipe 3 times and that's it. Any more and it's wrong. I was like, what the fuck? And then like he would have a corn dog, he would take it off the stick. Nope, can't eat it on the stick. Have a straw? Nope, throw the
Y'all
straw
are
away. I'm
so
like, what
afraid to
the
do
fuck?
anything
That's
remotely
weird.
gay.
That's the kind of thing where they're projecting, where they're trying to, you know, they're so afraid of themselves.
Eat a corn dog, you'll like it.
Put some mayonnaise on it. You'll like it
stupid.
more.
Just eat the damn corn dog. God.
That is so weird. Yeah.
We're laughing at you all, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I
yeah.
remember thinking in high school, I was like, that's fucking weird. No, I have a drink. I'm going to use a straw. What the fuck does it matter?
God. A straw?
Yeah, no, he would take the straw out and throw it away. A corn dog, take the stick out, throw it away. It was always so, I thought that was always so weird.
He's not
every
one of them
time.
homo
I
gays.
hope he met a guy that makes him very happy later in life. Because that is a level of denial.
No, if he threw the straw out, he's not making him happy. I saw the water bottle too. I took my.
You timed that perfect.
There it is. I don't see him in the clip. Let's see him in the playback. Being gay is fun.
So we've already touched on it a lot already, but you have literal zero aspirations to come back in the wrestling.
Yes. Yes. I was actually asked a while ago to come back into the managerial stance. I was like, no. There's people that have started training since I've quit that need the times. It's just no. No thanks. I'm good.
So, because we saw a lot of people, and granted, I don't know your relationship or how close, and if he even reached out and stuff like that. But like the Silver Memorial show, so many wrestlers kind of came back just for one night and stuff like that. Was that something that ever crossed your mind? Were you approached? Were you a little hurt that you weren't approached?
No.
Like, was there anything?
I will say this. I was approached.
Okay.
I was approached. However, this was after the rift.
Mm-hmm.
And my issue with that was that the approach, and apparently there's a plaque with my name on it for being the first graduate. The approach and the plaque, I think, were performative bridge building.
Okay.
Because if you texted me to work this show, that means you had my number this entire time. And at no point did you want to settle things. Did you want to clear the air? Instead, you wanted to make a show.
Right.
And yeah, you can tell people that I denied going to that show. Absolutely. I did. Actually, I even said like I was working that night.
Right.
I think I was asked on Thursday, and the show was like Friday or Saturday.
Right.
It's like I was working. I will say that we did promote the shit out of it on the back. We absolutely did.
Yeah.
I knew Sterling. Sterling was a great guy. Now for Silver's thing, I actually did not get. Sorry, I actually got them confused because Sterling Silver.
Yeah,
Well,
that makes sense.
No, honestly, I was thinking.
So I got them
Sterling, 'cause
confused.
I knew you were closer to that.
Yeah.
So
I was closer to that. Silver, I did not because I think everybody knew that I was done.
Right.
I think I had made a good enough show.
exit
that
was
I
solidified.
It was solidified. It was done. It was done.
Right.
But I have like no bad blood with MPX. It was just it's time for me. I'm too old to get the rug pulled out from me from other people again. Like I have too much going on.
Right.
So.
Know that feeling?
So when you had that talk with your mom, when you said, I need you to be my mom now, is that when she finally started accepting it and supporting her decisions?
She was more hurt that I hid what I consider to be a serious relationship from her. She was more upset with that because that showed her that things were worse than what she thought. That I would hide something so important from my life. So now, I mean, we're great.
Good.
We're great.
Good.
I mean, that was like 17 years ago, but yeah. Yes.
Do you think it's important to have a stable?
There's a lot of stables that she can go with. Hold up.
Here's where we're going. Do you think it's important to have a stable a net to be able to be like, hey, this is how I am, and I need you to just accept that? Or do you think that it's more important to just be able to keep all of that to yourself?
I think that you should be prepared for people to not accept and for that to be okay. Absolutely. Not everybody. I think it's very arrogant to go through your life to think that you will not offend anybody, that nobody should or would ever offend you, and that you have to be top-notch to every single person and vice versa at all times. I think it's woefully arrogant to think that you will ever be that well-beloved. be yourself, absolutely. Understand the ramifications that come with that too.
So do you feel, let's touch on this a little bit, do you feel being yourself is way more important than having a support system? I mean, obviously you want both, but would you prefer or think it's more important to just be yourself or have a support system?
I think that people tend to want more of a support system. They want, basically what they see in TV, reading books, and everything like that in the movies, where you have all these friends that are going to support you. When have 2 or 3, have just one. Have one person who you talk to every single day, if that. My best friend, who, by the way, we're doing the Nightstand podcast. We've been friends for 20 years. She is the person that I talk to every single fucking day. She is absolutely my best friend in the world. Rita and Casey are absolutely there too. I talk to them the same. So I've known her for 20 years. I've known them for 5. I talk to them the same. So I think recognize your support system, that there are people that are going to be there. It doesn't have to be everybody. Being yourself also means surrounding yourself with people that are not going to be an echo chamber. That aren't going to be like, yes, queen, go off, work, you do the thing. No, like they also need to tell you when you're acting out.
Right.
Yep.
And you need to be able to take that. Because that's coming from a place of love. Yes, oh my God, what?
It's not that I have other things as shit. It's just that I want to ask you specific questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Something to forget.
Go ahead.
What sort of advice would you give to the younger generation that is going through it right the fuck now, that you would tell them, if you could, just one-on-one? Like, as coming out or being gay or being part of the LGBT community, what is that one advice that you would give them?
Oh. There are people you have never met and never will meet that already hate you. There are people that you have never met that are going to love you. Be true to yourself. If you question if something is performative, it might be. But stay yourself. Hold on to your values on that. And there is no therapy quite like therapy. Don't try to take other things that help you hide your problem or make you forget your problem. I remember somebody posted about wrestling. They said, wrestling makes us forget our problems for 15 minutes, and that's irreplaceable. Guess what happens when that second bell rings? Your problems are right there in the curtain.
Yeah.
It is not therapy. We all know what a mental toll that the industry takes on people.
Yeah.
That is a little ignorant to treat it like it's a therapy, because you've seen how many people hurt themselves, how many people are suffering depression when the bell stops. You could be a better friend. You could be, just someone to talk. I love talking to people because I don't care. That's what I love to tell people. I don't care. I don't know you. I don't know your life. You're welcome to tell me anything. I will give you full objectivity. I'm not going to try to hurt you, but I don't care. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. It means I don't have an invested interest in your outcome other than you being good. That's it. I have no ulterior motives for anything. I like to look at a situation. This is one of the things I actually respect the hell out of Reza Clark for, is that when we see a situation of conflict, we look at it and we don't decide whose side we're on. We decide what side we're on. Is this good or bad? What lines with my morals? What doesn't? That's the side that I'm on. If it happens to be you, cool. If it's somebody that I hate, still on your side. But yeah, right.
Do you have people specifically that you would suggest to younger wrestlers that could come out in that same sort of sense? Not necessarily as just LGBTQ, but just somebody that you would recommend in the wrestling community that's going to give them a non-biased opinion.
In what way? Sorry. That was a lot. I thought you were going somewhere and then you went somewhere else.
Yeah, just someone who's going to give them a non-biased opinion regardless of
on
their sexuality, race.
Are they trying to sleep with them? That's the only opinion that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, then yes. That someone's other than going to sleep with them.
That's it.
Yeah.
If you're trying to sleep with them, that's the only person whose opinion matters about your sexuality. Anybody else? Who the fuck cares?
Woo!
Doesn't matter. Tell them how we almost broke up.
really
Oh, damn. No, let's get into this.
I genuinely want to iterate that. Like people who do not give a shit about what your sexuality
If you can
is,
bring your wife, I can bring my husband. Fuck off.
or whether or not you are going to have sex with them, please give them the time of day.
Here's my thing. If you're going to have sex with somebody in the industry, don't then tell trainees not to.
Thank you. The fact that we didn't have to say it.
So a breakup.
Yeah. Okay. So Mario, thanks for that. Yeah. No, he did, and this is a good point to talk about in wrestling in general. Everybody talks about sacrifice. It takes sacrifice. It does all this and everything. That's where I hate that the exception becomes the rule, because I've always told everybody, is like, you will run out of things to sacrifice. You will lose all of your relationships. You are probably going to hurt your day job. You're hurting your body. Like, you will run out of things to sacrifice.
Yeah.
We were coming back from Houston late at night, and this was a time where I was like working 3 nights a week, having my day job. I was not home. I was bringing in barely any money, and I get a text at about like 12:30 at night from my husband. He says, "You have the rest of that car ride to figure out how this relationship's going to work." I called him immediately because I don't need an entire car ride, and I said, "Excuse me?" And he said, "He's been at home. We're struggling. I'm not there, and it's not fair." And I said, "That's fair." Because frankly, I'd been with him longer than I've been wrestling.
Yeah.
And I owed him the priority. So at that time, I cut down on my training. I was a little more critical on my my gigs. And then COVID happened. COVID happened a few months later. But no, for real, that's probably why I stayed at the Lucha show on Sundays, because it was close. It was like, gone for a couple hours and I can come back. And things like that. Sometimes he would come, sometimes he wouldn't. But it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair.
So we're kind of getting a lot more of kind of what made you retire. It was a relationship. It was COVID.
No,
it was calling out.
I will never.
It was a little bit of all.
No. I will never put my retirement on him.
No. I'm not saying that was the reason. I'm saying it was kind of like a stepping stone, so to speak, of like, oh wait, I should cut back.
You were
a little
already-
Not cut back. It made me think that where was I investing?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you'll see people, like I said, when the exception becomes the rule, that's a problem. Everyone's like, you have to struggle, you have to fight, you have to sacrifice, or you can just spend $2,000 and go to a WWE tryout. All y'all saying, I got a tryout. You paid for one. Okay. If you were the kind of person that gets invited for a tryout, somebody else is writing your post. Real talk.
Yep.
Same with like people doing extra talent. They were like, "Oh, I got selected for extra talent." You applied. You applied, and you're in there with like 9 other people. Like, chill out.
Yeah.
Good for you. Chill out.
Yeah.
Calm down.
All right, we are reaching our absolute limit and everything like that. We plugged it at the beginning. Let's go ahead and plug it again here at the end. You have a new podcast coming out.
Yes, the Nightstand podcast will be on revolverpodcast.com. Our debut is August 1st. You can also catch us on YouTube, where we have like some dummy episodes. It's me and my best friend of 20 years. We have 5 episodes up there right now. Same name on YouTube. You can catch us on all the social medias. You can also follow me, the real Byron Anthos, here and there, wherever. You cannot find me on the Facebook profile because I can't delete it, or I just don't care to. So any updates you see on there is me on Instagram. But I don't respond to anything there. So if you want to talk shit, that's the place to do it. I can't be insulted by lies or the truth, so shoot your shot. And yeah, if you want to follow me in real life, then you need to be a better friend.
How did you come up with the nightstand?
Because we were trying to think of something that was pretty common, and then my friend made this joke about it being arm's length away. I was like, oh, that's cute. And then we were like, it's the thoughts that keep you up at night. And I'm like, fair. I literally like roll over, turn the light on, grab my phone, and I'm like, what am I looking at right now? So we're going a little bit more like introspective, but we are not therapists. We are not professionals. We just want a layman's view on certain things. Like one of our episodes is going to be, am I the only sibling? Why am I the only sibling taking care of my family?
Yeah.
So it's like asking yourself that. My favorite one coming up is actually going to be, why am I the one that calls first? Because it's not going to just be fuck everybody. It's going to be, have you also created this environment where you're the one that checks up on people?
Right.
And now you're trying to take it all away, and then it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Greg asks, how many and what kind of cats do you have?
We had 3. Thanks, Greg. No, kidding. We are in good thoughts with Kevin. We have a frame out for him and everything. I actually have to pick up his clay paw print tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we have 2 now, Ickis and Artie. Artie's a little bit older. Ickis was actually Kevin's litter brother.
Oh, nice.
Icky.
So yeah, Icky. We love Icky. So yeah. And I can't wait. Yes, finally been missing it. Missing what?
Oh, by the way, if you haven't already, please make sure that you at least.
I think he's talking about the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Wait, the GoFundMe is still open, right?
It's closed.
It's closed already.
It's closed
Okay.
because we took him in for the surgery. He did
Okay.
not survive the surgery.
Okay.
So I want to thank you, every single person who contributed to that. You made it possible. It was just a complication that we didn't foresee, and it happened. We love Kevin. Friday was hard. Don't ask me about it, but I can still talk about him. So yeah.
So, thank you very much for joining us.
It was fun.
Like I said, this is kind of a weird culmination of 5 years for me.
And you had nothing written.
Yeah, no.
5 years to prepare. There was nothing.
Well, that's because I'm just like, we do it off the cuff at this point anyway, so, you know.
Well, thank you for having me.
Make sure you check out his show, and come back for us next week as things are getting a little punk. No, it's not 0, it's even. El Baracho is coming
Nice.
to the Indy Spotlight. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. See y'all next week. Mark out.
See you later.
Mark out.
Mark out.
All right. Yeah, they tell you not to.
Must
but-
say Brian now.
But I mean,
you
they're
know
my-
it.